Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. The S&P 500 was down 1.35% today, taking back some of our really good gains that we had yesterday. Our signals haven't changed at this point. The one key message I want to talk about today is really something very fascinating. When there's an expectation for something to happen and the market kind of all gets behind that, often the market ends up going the other direction. We've seen that happen over and over again, and including today. So there's an expectation that Nvidia would do really well in their earnings report, which they did. They actually knocked it out of the ballpark. Yet Nvidia had just a very small gain today. The stock market ended up dropping today, unlike last quarter, where Nvidia kind of surprised everybody with a really good earnings report, and we ended up with a giant move for Nvidia and a really big move for the stock market altogether. And so, that's kind of the type of thing that happens again today, because if you take a look at what's happening tomorrow, Fed Chairman Powell is going to be doing what they call the Jackson Hole speech, which they do every August. Last year, when they did this, the stock market dropped 3%. And, the Federal Reserve has a really interesting job right now of trying to keep inflation under control, part of which is to keep consumer spending under control. And of course, if everybody has huge gains in their stock market accounts, maybe they spend more than they would have if they didn't. So trying to keep the stock market under control is partly what they're doing with their, rhetoric and the things that they're talking about. And the Jackson Hole speech is kind of unique because there's no question and answers to kind of clarify or even soften some of the points that he might make. Last time, I think the speech was only about 8 minutes long. And so, again, though, everybody's expecting something like last year. But if you look at the data for inflation, it's coming down. Core inflation is coming down. Top line inflation is coming down. CPI, PCE are coming down. PPI is coming down. You name it. That can change, but the data is happening. And ultimately, that's where the market's going. And that's why, even though the Fed has continued to come out and say things aggressively, the market has been going up, really since the middle of October. And I don't see that really changing. And maybe tomorrow we have a little reaction, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have any reaction because the expectation again is already kind of built in that that it might fall because of what he says. Now we do have a jobs report tomorrow that comes out for the month, shows how many jobs were created last month. And sometimes the market does respond negatively to that. Ironically, if there's too many jobs created, I've been saying all along, I don't think that's a bad thing. And if you look back, I've actually been right in that category because inflation has continued to come down. And I feel like, inflation is predominantly in the service sector. You need more people working in order to kind of create more supply to meet that demand in the service, which can, moderate prices there potentially. And so, we'll see how that plays out also. But nonetheless, not a bad time. Market's still kind of churning around. Again, I wouldn't expect anything spectacular, maybe till after the Labor Day holiday and whatnot. But there's definitely been some good buying days here. And then, we just haven't had two good up days in a row, which I really like to see. But nonetheless, we're doing okay. In my opinion, this is just a normal sideways corrective motion so far. We haven't even broke through 4,300, which is kind of the first level of resistance and those types of things. So look forward to being able to talk to you tomorrow. I do my show, Talk Money with Tom, live. You can ask questions live. At the beginning of the show, I do a summary for what I saw happening this week for the stock market and the bond market. And look forward to being able to see you then. It's 12:15 to 1 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you very much.